Sadhana, and welcome to Transform with Bijay. Like you all know from my past videos, my love for Ayurveda, naturopathy, and sound healing. And what I really enjoy doing is bring to you different speakers, different knowledge banks, wise people on these topics who can enlighten us with their wisdom and share something new with us every time. And it's very rare to find one person who's a master in Ayurveda also, sound healing also, acupuncture also, and this and that. And so it's with great delight and pleasure that I want to introduce to you my dear friend, Chintan Dalal. Welcome, Chintan. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So tell me, I just want to know one thing from you about what you do is when did you start and what is the range of things that you actually do? Because I want to quickly jump into the problems and their cures.
Absolutely. So, Bijay, my journey actually started way back in 2008, where I started learning Kriya Yoga and meditation for my own health and my mental well-being. And the way how destiny had it, by 2011 or 12, I actually dwelled very deep into these subjects, and I had many life transforming experiences of my own, and I took up the challenge of studying Ayurveda, naturopathy, acupuncture as a systematic 5.5-year degree. And from there on, I started integrating and studying these subjects where what works on the mind and how it influences the body, and what works on the body and how it can influence the mind. And that entire journey led me to developing a range of tools and techniques which integrated Naad yoga and sound therapy, meditation, acupuncture, Ayurveda, pulse diagnosis, and various other modalities which I integrate depending on a patient's ailment and depending on a psychosomatic disorder or a physical disorder. And that's what exactly I do, where I run a full-time clinic in Bombay, and we see patients like as high as 20 patients a day for therapy every single day. And it's a constant evolution of learning, sharing with like-minded people, with students who want to.
What I like about you is that normally doctors have patients who go to them for treatment.
Yes.
I know for a fact that you have bhakts, people who are devoted to you, who really have blind faith in whatever you do, and it's amazing what you built up in such a short time. So quickly, I want to just rattle off a couple of problems which people keep writing to me about all the time.
Yes.
Starting with indigestion, because it's a huge problem.
Absolutely.
People suffering from constipation, people suffering from bloating, from gas, and so what do we have in the kitchen that in your knowledge bank you can share with us that we can, I don't want a quick fix, but something which over a long period of time will be a good remedy and an easy one to adapt and to follow?
So this is actually a vast question. This is pretty much the entire fundamental basis of understanding the depth of Ayurveda, but integrate that with what we call as a myofascial and a biomechanical science, which is what our body is. Okay, and in Ayurveda we have in yoga also we have an understanding of what we call as pancha prana, or 5 types of winds, which are predominantly responsible for 90% of our bodily functioning. Motion is life, and that is governed by wind as an element. One of the fundamental winds, which we call as apana vayu, is where all the disturbances or the ailments start, and that in English we call it as the gases that we are supposed to pass, but then we suffer bloating, gasiness, constipation. All of them are actually a chain reaction of an imbalanced apana vayu. The whole essence of yoga, Ayurveda, be it acupuncture, naturopathy, ultimately is to help the person balance the apana vayu of the body, which will immediately bring physical harmony at the physical bodily level, including for ailments, and also mental harmony. So the moment your apana vayu is balanced, and mentally you are much more at ease.
What is the one or two things, like for example, like they say if you have soft,
Correct.
after your dinner.
Mhm.
That's amazing. If you don't drink water when you're eating your food, that really helps digestion a lot. So, like that, what is some very critical mistakes that people are making that you would like to rectify?
So see, the understanding of Ayurveda is actually very crystal clear, where it's based on observation, where they are saying that every lock has a particular key, and if you're not using that key, then you're either breaking the lock or breaking the keys. The same way, there cannot be honestly a generic treatment or to-do thing for every single person. It just cannot be universal. But Ayurveda has a process what we call as identifying different Prakriti types and Vikruti types.
Yeah.
If you ask me to sum all of it up in a very simplified format, I would generally always recommend go back to eating the food, the style of eating and cooking exactly the way how we used to do 20, 30, 40 years ago, back in our home, back in our villages, from what in our tradition. Okay, there are a lot of fad diets which are ongoing in today's times. People believe that eating nutritious food will help sort their health out, but that's exactly not what it is, because if you cannot digest the nutritious food, then it's not doing any good. So Ayurveda and yoga as a science works on improving your digestive fire and moving the wind in the body, or the motion of the wind in certain manner, which is the vata as we call it. Eating wholesome grains, which is slow digesting, slow burning, carbohydrate rich food, is actually the fundamental key to great health. Okay, the moment people go on to raw food diets, anything which is actually fast digesting is not actually good for your health. Okay, also simple remedies like 4 fundamental meals per day, and that's that. Okay, in the morning, let's say there is a timing of between 9 and 10 in the morning is when you should have your heaviest meal or the largest meal, because that is the time of the spleen and the stomach as per what we call as the organ clocks.
So when you talk about these fad diets and all of these things that people are doing, one thing that everyone is doing is intermittent fasting.
Yes.
So when you say we should have 4 meals a day, what would you say to somebody who says, but I don't eat anything for 12 hours at a stretch, 14 hours at a stretch, 16 hours at a stretch, and then I have an 8-hour feeding window. So what do you say about intermittent fasting?
Okay. So let me put this down very simplified. As I said, Ayurveda is so beautifully narrated, and it's all, if you ask us, it's the quantum science right there in front of you. When we say the first meal has to be between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning, which is supposed to be a breakfast, and the largest meal or the heaviest meal, it is the time of the spleen and the stomach, and so those organs actually get their tonification, their nutrition, and their functioning energy or the vitality or the essence from the food that you consume at that point in time. What you should be consuming at that point in time: high carb foods. Okay, have your Indian breakfast. Your parathas, your poha, your upma, your shira. You like
You're okay with parathas?
Yes, please, because that is when your digestive fire is actually at its peak. Okay, the food that you digest at that point in time during the entire day is the best digested. The next meal can come between 12:30 and 1:30, which is the time of what we call as the heart and the small intestine. Okay, and you should eat between the time frame of 12:30 to 1:30. This is exactly when the digestive fire is at its peak in the body. Okay, and it will nourish your heart and your small intestine very rightly, which has its own functioning. Okay, we also call it post-digestive effect. Have your lunch, again, have rice, have rotis. Yes, if you find organic food, nothing like it. Eat food which actually grows within the 200-kilometer radius from where you live, and not something, let's say, a lot of people have this, basmati rice is probably good for health, but technically it's not. Not in Bombay, not in our climate. Okay, but if you're living in up north, and it's actually much colder, in which case basmati is the apt rice for their health over there. The third meal, if you are a pitta prakriti person, okay, then you can have a heavy tea coffee snack, because automatically your body will ask for food between that 4:30 to 5:30 range. Listen to your body. Okay, If it's asking for a sandwich, a bhel, something like khakra and ghee, whatever it's asking for, actually listen to your taste buds and give that food to the body. Don't worry. Okay. If you give the food rightly and if you chew each morsel 30 times very, very slowly, so we say that drink your food and chew your water. If you can actually take only this much back home, 90% of your digestive issues, in which case also in return, most of your health issues will start going back to, they'll actually start reversing and the whole body starts hitting homeostasis. If you're a kapha or a vata prakriti person, I would generally suggest, and in general it's observed, that your bodies will not ask for food around that tea, coffee, snack period, but they will ask for food around 5:30 to 6:30 range. That should be their last meal of the day, which is automatically your intermittent fasting is already covered because your next meal is coming 8:30 in the morning.
But a lot of my students, when I tell them to do this, and I want to ask you what you think, is that when I say your last meal should be at 6 or 6:30,
at best,
and they say, but we sleep at 10, 10:30 and we feel hungry before sleeping. Now what I tell them is that I love sleeping when I'm hungry. It gives me a light sleep. I'm able to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I feel fresh when I wake up. I look like this when I wake up. I don't look like, those bag puffy eyes and like going like a blind man in the bathroom.
Yes.
I wake up like this.
Yes.
So, but to people who are saying that, 6 o'clock if I eat, 6:30 if I eat, I'm going to get hungry, then what do I do? What will you tell them?
Again, as I said, the way how the science is designed, I made a point to chew each morsel minimum 30 times. The moment you start doing this systematically, in 5 days, you will start observing that your body stops asking for food anything after that time frame, because now it is actually fully nourished. Earlier, it's like everything is a signal which is sent back to the brain. So each and every cell of the body is sending back a signal that it needs food. Why does it need food? Because let's say if you chew much faster, in which case that food actually does not get digested. 97% of your digestion happens on the tongue. If you look at the animal kingdom, they will hunt for a prey and then they will lick their prey for hours together before actually consuming it. What is happening is what we call as the science of resonance, and this is where the science of sound and Naad yoga comes into play. Everything in the universe is sound, vibration and a resonance. Till your frequency of the digestive system and the food which is in front of you, till the sound frequencies are not matched with each other, no matter how beautifully healthy and organic food that you may think you may be consuming, if it's not resonating, it's not getting digested, in which case you are not drawing up the nutrition from it whatsoever. I'm pretty sure you would be observing in your students also. You have a lot of your classes and your discussions, and people say, but sir, I eat everything nutritious and healthy, but yet I feel tremendous lack of energy. What's happening? Why is the body not uptaking the nutrition? Because it is not matched, it has not resonated with each other. So 97% of the digestion actually happens in the tongue. So chew your food very rigorously. Only then you gulp it down. If you do this only for 5 days with mindfulness, the 6th day you will observe, you will actually stop becoming hungry, because now the body is fully nourished. It has the sustained energy to continue along for no matter how many hours you are working.
I just want to add one thing to this for people who are watching now, and just say that you can do this right, you can do that right, you can do everything perfectly. But from the aura point of view, from the spirituality point of view, at the end of the day, if you're not a good human being, if you have jealousy, if you have anger, if you have any kind of stress in the stomach, after having done everything that we are discussing, the basic aura, the structure of your chakras will not allow something healthy to happen in your life. The food will not be nourishing for you, because of the way your mind is working. It's affecting your digestive system.
Exactly.
And if you are a kind person, if you're a loving person, if you're a good soul, if you're helping everybody who you can, you don't want anything from anybody, but you want to give. My grandfather used to say, "Hath ais tarah rakhi da, ais tarah nahi rakhega." and you want to always give as much. And I think if you just adopt that philosophy goes much higher than any other science.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the reason why we have this saying, which is obviously like will attract like, and opposites will cancel each other out. But again, it's referring back to a science ultimately, which is based out of quantum physics.
Quantum physics, yeah. Yeah, that's my next level of inquiry. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you with more questions in our next episode, which will be part 2 of our discussion. So thank you for this episode, and really lovely pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Sadhana.